Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It just gets better with time, every time. Webb Wilder and the Beatniks, recorded live. The CD is called Born to be Wilder. You are tuned to 90.3 The Rock, and of course that was a Human Cannonball here on 90.3 The Rock, and this is The Rock live on your radio set, and on your TV set you will be watching UTTV The Rock Unplugged. My name is Benny Smith, and today we're going to catch up with and talk about a show in town tonight celebrating a new record from a fella that we've been playing his music for quite some time here in Knoxville on 90.3 The Rock and WUTK. And again, it is Webb Wilder. Webb, sir, welcome back to Knoxville.
Hey, Benny, thanks so much.
Absolutely. It's always great to see you and always great to have you in Knoxville. I guess I've been following you now since, late 80s, early or mid-late 80s, and even the early 90s there here in Knoxville back in the day when you used to come play the old library and youth club down there on the Strip. And tonight, you've got your Beatniks in tow, and you're going to be down at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria in the Old City. I'd say it'll probably crank up about 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And it's always a good time when you come and bring the band and play. But tonight is a pretty special night because they're celebrating the release of Born to be Wilder is the name of the new CD. And it is a live one. And it is captured live from a show in Alabama, August 19th, 2005 at a place called Workplay. And so congratulations on that. And I know it's going to be a good show tonight. You're looking forward to it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. And thank you for being a longtime supporter. I'm not sure just when you came aboard, but it seems like the beginning. So
yeah, it's pretty much about right, I believe.
You're in the Hall of Fame as far as we're concerned.
Appreciate that.
Longtime supporters. Yeah, that was the show that makes up Born to be Wilder, the new live album, started out life as a DVD. And then the DVD is still available and has all of the songs. This is more of 3/4 of the show resequenced,
right?
Like you would sequence an album,
sure.
With maybe your strongest song first or something. So It's not in chronological order of the show. If you like that, you can see the DVD. The thing that made that show a little bit unique was that we used 3 guitarists, which we've only done single-digit number of times out of 20 years.
Yeah.
And it was Tony Bowles, who's on the other side of the door right now, who'll be playing with us tonight, George Bradfute, the tone chaperone, and myself.
Yep.
And, of course, Jimmy Lester and Tom Comet, who are here tonight, were on the drums and bass. So that was the only difference, is that we had one more guitarist than usual.
That's got to be fun on stage with 3 guitars at once.
Well, 10 years ago, if you told me about it, I'd say, no way, I'm not doing that. But it was great because those guys know what not to do.
Right.
They have a lot of respect for each other. And we could take on more of the parts and recreate the records a little bit more without sacrificing any of the urgency of the live show.
Just before we go any further, you've got that 6-string tuned up and ready to go. Can we get a song out of you?
Sure.
What you going to do, man? Well,
I'm going to do a song that never was on any of the albums that has a little following of its own, though, from having been in an abbreviated form in the Horror Hayride film in the Cornflakes video.
Right.
And it's another R.S. Field song, and it's the title is TCB Yodel Number 9.
Oh, cool.
So
cool.
People won't necessarily have this, but I know some people like it, and
yeah, it's one of those exclusives. As
and of course, we're in early February as we speak, and
Groundhog Day.
That's right. It is Groundhog Day.
Yes, sir, it is.
And the groundhog, like myself, is another icon who made it not on the strength of his looks.
Yeah.
But we just got out of January, which is the birthday month of our king, Elvis Presley.
Absolutely.
And this song, of course, has a lot to do with him.
Cool. Webb Wilder live on 90.3 The Rock and on UTTV, The Rock Unplugged.
Well, there's about 10 billion people who back me up on this. From the piss poor post hole digger to the rocket scientist. Hell, I bet you can't find a preacher who don't like burning love. And your band's a bunch of weak sisters if they can't play Rip It Up. If you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number 1, you're full of number 2. Well, now every 2-bit tabloid had bad things to say. From New York City to La La Land, as in his state he lay. Well, if you don't think he paid for his sins, try paying for a few of your own. Their serpent's tongues can't hurt him now. He's at peace in his heavenly home. If you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Well, now maybe he couldn't spell pneumonia, but he did know a thing or two. Yeah, he knew how to flat out get it, and he passed it on to me and you. He kicked open the door for those who came before with a joy that has never been known. So let's drink to his name, dance on his grave, and rock and roll away the stone. If you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Yeah, even though Bob Dylan knows the words to Moody Blue. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. Yeah, now even those Beatles who could rock it right through the roof would probably be the first ones to admit there wasn't an Elvis in the group. If you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. If you don't think he was number one, you're full of number two. If you don't think Elvis was the king, baby, I feel sorry for you. Think about it.
Great stuff. Live in studio, one of Mississippi's finest singing about one other Mississippi's finest there. Webb Wilder singing about Elvis the King, and I guess written by another Mississippian, right?
There you go.
Good law. Bobby Crowfield, Mr. R.S., who also produced this new live record.
Right.
Is that right? And
Right.
Again, the new live record, Born to be Wilder, Webb Wilder and the Beatniks, recorded live. He also produced Scott Miller's live record that was recorded up at Down Home and did some things. And you've got a long history with Bobby. You go way back, even before music, and that you were making, and then moved to Austin. And he put some mics in the crowd and did some things. And I've read some reviews about this new live record of yours. It's amazing the sound he got, because live records are really hit or miss, man. They can't all be Frampton Comes Alive. And as far as sound, but you've got to be happy, I guess, how this one came out, because I've read some great reviews about how he did just such a good job with it, producing and making sure it came out sounding great and live.
Well, he did do a fantastic job, and a guy that doesn't get quite enough credit was the engineer he chose to work with him, Jack Clark.
Oh, yeah?
And we were fortunate that we found a venue that basically had a studio inside it. And
like Down Home does.
Like Down Home does.
Yeah.
And this was a little bit different, though, because the control room at least was isolated away from all the stage noise.
Yeah.
And that's an extremely live stage. So we sort of felt like we were in a hurricane up there sonically. And apparently it sounded great in the crowd. And, you know, Bobby and Jack were in a control room where they could just hear what was truly happening. And so they did do an incredible job, and we performed better than we thought, because we were slightly uncomfortable up there, to be honest, that night. And we wanted Landslide to market it as a live album with a bonus DVD, and they did it the other way around. And now Blind Pig has come along and put it out strictly as an album. Now,
what about some of the previous video projects that you've been involved in? Do you carry any of those around? Are they still available?
No, they're not, and we're working on changing that. That song I just did, of course, was part of the Cornflakes VHS.
I am proud to be an owner of that.
There you go. And some or all of that may come out on a DVD when longtime Webb Wilder director Steve Mims gets it together on the most recent film we did, which is called Scattergun. We did that the summer the musical DVD came out, which was the summer of 2006. We do these films about 15 years apart.
Yeah, that's
Don't ask
true.
me why.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Lester is acting in it. Bobby Field is acting in it. Our former co-manager, Andy McLennan, is acting in it.
Yeah.
Playing a guy like himself if he wasn't quite as good a guy.
Yeah.
And, of course, he co-managed me with the late, great Jack Emerson,
Yes.
who was his best friend. And so we've got a lot of our friends in there, and Steve Mims directed all of them.
Wow.
And Steve assures me he's going to get it together to make it happen as a DVD.
That'll be great because, man, that is some great stuff, that cornflakes.
Thanks.
It never gets old. You never get tired watching it, and you always find something. And one of the reasons why is you surround yourself with great players on stage. You have for years, and now you're still bringing up all these same names of these people that are helping you produce and things of that nature. I mean, does that give you that comfort zone, or you just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing,
I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think you should always be open to changing and growing and not and don't fix it if it ain't broke at the same time.
Yeah. And that brings up a couple of people I want to give a special shout out and thanks to, and that's Nancy Lewis Pagel, who is
great.
Helping manage you, and our buddy Mark Arnold. Who, called me to make sure I knew you were coming in, and I told him we'd already had some things situated and set up. And I'd say Mark the Train Arnold will probably be out at Barley's tonight as well. He's been a long-time supporter and fan. And
you can find him at most shows east of Nashville in Tennessee, selling T-shirts and CDs and doing all that. But he does a lot more than that. That's small change. He's a very active guy.
He can talk history in a lot of different ways. And Born to be Wilder. And we've got Webb Wilder here in the studio with us again, which we always love having him here at WUTK. And whenever he comes into town, the door's open, the mic is on for you. And it is right now, so can we get another one from you?
You bet. You're the man. We appreciate that,
too. What you going to do, brother?
Boy, I don't know. Let's see. I've got some new songs. Maybe I'll do one of them.
Sure, why not?
My mother, I don't mean to dwell on this, she just passed away. And she was a wonderful person, and she grew up in the country, and she had all these country expressions, which, have found their way into some of the songs.
Yeah.
Like in Wild Honey, Whistling Girl and a Crow and Hen always come to the same side. And that was something my mother used to say.
Yeah.
So lots of people's mothers, I'm sure, said pretty is as pretty does.
Oh, yeah.
And I was fascinated by that my whole life because always, about the time I'd think I'd know what it meant, it would elude me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
but anyway, so I wrote a song called that, and I'm going to do it for you.
Cool. Webb Wilder live on 90.3 The Rock, and on UTTV, The Rock Unplugged. Go for it.
Pretty is as pretty does. I know what it means because I let her do me like she does. Now I'm pretty blue. Time is gonna help, I know, and there's no place else to go. So I'll stay and see the show. I'll leave when it's through. When the joke's on you, it makes it kinda hard to laugh. Ain't nobody wants your autograph. Could help you out, I guess, but I'd probably make a mess. I don't feel too good myself, so why listen to me? Pretty is as pretty does. You could go down for that buzz. Don't confuse what is with what was once. Now it's history. Love is blind, you only see what you want to see. Don't you know that beauty's just skin deep? Pretty is as pretty does. I know what it means because I let her do me like she does. Now I'm pretty blue.
Pretty is as pretty does. Live, exclusive on 90.3 The Rock UTTV, The Rock Unplugged. From the last of the full-grown men, idol of idle youth, Mr. Webb Wilder, in studio. Born to be Wilder. Brand new live CD, Webb Wilder and the Beatniks. And, of course, probably start up about 9:30 or 10 down there at Barley's in the Old City. Always